Welcome to this module on how to create an instructional ladder from your MAP reports. This module is intended for teachers who have some experience with MAP reports and want to learn more about using MAP results for planning instruction. Just follow the cursor on the screen and listen in. What is an instructional ladder anyway? Let's take a look. Here's an example. It's just a few pages. The top page is like this one in the upper right. It has students in your class arranged by their MAP performance in an area of content that is aligned with an upcoming area or unit that you will be teaching. The other pages in the ladder are from DesCartes and consist of lists of skills and content that you as a teacher are planning. The idea of an instructional ladder is to associate or connect student RIT scores with skills and content that are at their instructional level. It's called a ladder because a list of skills or content climb or increase in complexity or difficulty as the RIT scores increase. Take a few seconds to look at the notes in the blue boxes before we go on. There are several benefits or reasons for using an instructional ladder. Use of MAP results deeper than just the scores, knowing student skill levels, planning lessons with instructional levels of students in mind, communicating with other professionals, and scaffolding instruction. Now let's take a look at how to create an instructional ladder. It involves discretion on your part as a teacher. You will make a series of instructional decisions. There are three basic steps in the process: identifying the skills or learning targets, identifying the RIT bands present in your class, and then matching the RIT bands to DesCartes statements. Let's use an example to demonstrate the steps. Let's assume that you'll be teaching the reading of fiction. Literary text will be emphasizing two areas: how characters change as a story progresses, and plots and how they are resolved. Identifying the skills or concepts that students will need to learn is a vital step in the process of creating an instructional ladder. It narrows DesCartes down to only those areas that are relevant to an upcoming lesson or unit of study. Let's go to step 2. The first part of step 2 involves logging into the NWEA reports page and clicking on the class by RIT from the menu on the left. This is the class by RIT chart that shows up on the screen. Notice that it has three subject areas on the left: mathematics, reading, and language use. Each one of these is clickable and will lead to a more detailed list of concepts in the respective subject area. The area that we are concerned with today is in the area of reading because we identified that in step 1. So let's click on the word reading. This will take you to a more detailed listing of skills and concepts in reading. Their category names are listed on the left: analyze text, evaluate and extend text, understand text, and word meaning context. These are called goal areas. But how do I find which area contains literary reading, character changes, and resolving plots? The answer is to look in a document called Wisconsin DesCartes Framework. A copy of this is available on Moodle as part of this module. For now, here's a copy of a page from the Wisconsin DesCartes Framework. You can look through this document for skills or concepts that are related to your upcoming lesson or unit of study. On the page shown here, we find that the skill of understanding literal meaning, literary, is in the goal area of understand text. Now that I know what part of DesCartes to go to, reading, understand text, understand literal meaning, literary, I know to select the understand text goal area. Here is the understand text section of the class by RIT of the class by goals report. This is the grouping of students to work with for the purposes of creating this instructional ladder. Here is an enlargement of the understand text row, and it's now time to make more instructional decisions. It's time to form groups of students in the goal area of understand text. This is my instructional decision as a teacher, and there's no one way to do this. I should consider things like the size of the group, skills of the group, room space concerns, my comfort managing groups, my knowledge of the students, and so on. This page shows one way to form groups, but the next page shows another way. The grouping is up to me as a teacher who knows the students the best. Here's another way to group this class. The point is that it's an instructional decision at my discretion as the teacher. As a transition to step 3, note that there are 6 to 10-point writ bands represented by this goals part of the class by writ report. To get to the DesCartes listing of skills and concepts, I should click that goal title. Also notice that this little side note that it's possible for a student's writ score to be outside the band under which it falls. This is because the student's writ is the average of all the reading goal areas, not only the understand text area. These are DesCartes pages. These are the DesCartes listing of concepts in reading, literary that are aligned with my upcoming lesson or unit. It has 3 categories: understanding of literary meaning, understanding of meaning informational, and understanding of sequencing of events. Remember that you're using only parts of DesCartes, the parts that align with your upcoming lessons or unit of study, and you don't need to use all of what is listed in DesCartes. This is at your discretion. In this example, remember that we're focusing on reading literary text, character changes, and how a plot is resolved. And we found in the previous step that this content appears in the section called Understanding of Literary Meaning, Literary. On the DesCartes pages, I need to look through the skills and concepts for the 6 writ ranges for this class. Some have more or fewer than 6 ranges, and see if there are any matches for the 2 main concepts of my upcoming lessons. See the red boxes as they show the matched skills and concepts for my students in the 191 to 200 writ range for understanding text. I should look for this type of match in each of the columns, because I have students in each of the 6 columns. These skills and concepts represent entry points that my students are ready to learn according to the MAP assessment system. An interesting side note, some skills and concepts are repeated in more than one column. This is part of the hierarchical or build-up structure of DesCartes, so don't be surprised if skills or concepts appear in more than one column. Also, NWEA tells us that, informally, RIT stands for Ready for Instruction Today, meaning that the skills or concepts in the student's column are in the student's zone of proximal development, a stretch to learn, but not too much of a stretch. Okay, so an instructional ladder is really just a few sheets of paper that can be kept on my desk for instructional planning for an upcoming lesson or unit. The top sheet shows the names of my students grouped by their MAP results in a goal area that will be taught in an upcoming lesson or unit. The rest of the sheets show skills and concepts, a small number of which I will match with the skills and concepts in an upcoming lesson or unit. Okay, already. I know how to create an instructional ladder. What do I do now? Well, there's several uses for my ladder. You will think of other uses besides these, but the main ones have to do with identifying the skills that are in an upcoming unit of study at the level of the students that you're working with. You can use the ladder to communicate with other professionals. You can use your instructional ladder or DesCartes to show parents what students are learning in class. You can tier lessons, and you will also think of other areas to use DesCartes and instructional ladders as you move forward. For questions on creating instructional ladders, contact Mike Zelmer. Be sure to do the other activities in this module to maximize your professional growth.